SDG 5 is to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. Within SDG 5 are 9 targets, of which we here focus on Target 5.2, which is eliminate all forms of violence against all women and girls in the public and private spheres, including trafficking and sexual and other types of exploitation. Target 5.2 has 2 indicators. Indicator 5.2.1 is proportion of ever-partnered women and girls aged 15 years and older subjected to physical, sexual, or psychological violence by a current or former intimate partner in the previous 12 months by form of violence and by age. Indicator 5.2.2 is proportion of women and girls aged 15 years and older subjected to sexual violence by persons other than an intimate partner in the previous 12 months by age and place of occurrence. This target focuses on violence against women and intimate partner violence. These are not only crimes in many countries, but violations of human rights agreed upon at the international level in the form of treaties. Looked at from a public health perspective, the threat it poses to the health of a population is of pandemic proportions. Let's look at some of the forms countries enshrine and affirm this right. The most relevant to this topic is the Declaration on the Elimination of Violence Against Women adopted by the UN General Assembly in 1993. This violence can be physical, sexual, or psychological, whether or not committed by an intimate partner. The same principles are also reflected in the following human rights agreements. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The Declaration is international law for those who signed and ratified via 2 treaties adopted by the UN General Assembly in 1966. The first of those is the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. All but 20 countries are states parties. Those who have not acted include South Sudan, Saudi Arabia, Oman, UAE, Bhutan, Malaysia, Myanmar, with China signing but not ratifying. The other treaty enforcing the Universal Declaration of Human Rights is the International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights. In this instance, the US is the main holdout from becoming a state party, having signed but not ratified. Saudi Arabia, the Gulf states, Malaysia and Myanmar again haven't signed. Botswana, Mozambique and about 20 other smaller countries also haven't signed or ratified. In the previous target, we already looked at the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, another one of the human rights agreements. In the previous target, we already looked at the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. Another relevant human rights agreement to this topic is the Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhuman or Degrading Treatment or Punishment. The General Assembly adopted this treaty in 1984. The largest country which isn't a state party is India, which has signed but not ratified. Other non-signatories are Bangladesh, Eswatini, Iran, Myanmar, Malaysia, and Papua New Guinea, and some other smaller countries. The advancement of women has been a focus of the UN since the UN Decade for Women from 1975 to 85. For 68 annual sessions as of 2024, the UN Women's Commission on the Status of Women has met to advance women's empowerment and gender equality. How prevalent is the crime of violence against women worldwide across regions and countries? How do we know? Much violence against women occurs out of sight, behind closed doors. For this information, we can look to 3 main international sources. Several UN agencies work together to collate this data for measurement. 10% of women over 15 years old worldwide experienced physical or sexual violence from an intimate partner in the past 12 months. The highest proportions were in Democratic Republic of Congo and Afghanistan, both reporting above 30%.